Welcome back to War Games Group and the Sales Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Ingram. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Dan Lazar, a visionary entrepreneur whose journey, spans from being a professional tennis player to creating impactful business ventures. As the founder of HeroX and former founder of Covers Hero and Tennis Hero, Dan has made waves in the entrepreneurial world, securing investments on Shark Tank Romania and earning a spot on Forbes 30 under 30. So currently he's leading HeroX in supplying air domes and developing solar power farms, driving innovation in the property sector. So get ready to be inspired by Dan's brief part of his story, but also learning about the groundbreaking work he's doing and how you too can become successful as well. So stay tuned.
Welcome to War Games, hosted by the sales genius Joe Ingram. If you're looking to win the sales battle, then you have joined the right team. In the War Games Group, we devise strategies for sales, marketing, branding, mindset, and attitude. We enlist the assistance from the most successful producers across all industries. We then share their knowledge and techniques with you. Our single goal is to get you ready for your next sales opportunity. When it comes to crossing the minefield of sales, step in the footprints of those that have crossed before you. Now, prepare yourself for boot camp and beyond. It's time for the War Games to begin.
How we play a game.
Hey, it's me. Surprise. And I brought JR with me. Okay, fantastic. I also have brought Dan Lazar, the one I teased you with prior to that. Dan, welcome to the Sales Genius Podcast and the War Games Group. We are live all over the place. So welcome. I appreciate you. You said where you are overseas, it's midnight. So you're burning the midnight oil trying to help us out. So switch with me. I'll give you the big screen. So
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. So explain to me, for one, I would love to know what is an air dome before we get into to learning business. But I checked out the website, but how are you taking this internationally and taking this to be something that, what inspired you to do that?
So an air dome is an air supported structure. It's the most affordable way of covering a large area, above 10,000 or 15,000 square feet. To me, with air domes is something that I've started from a need. So I had a tennis club, and without an air dome, my club would just disappear 6 months per year. Therefore, I needed to get one, and then I got a second one, a third one, and at some point we had 6 tennis courts covered with air domes. And basically, I didn't wake up one day thinking, oh, what an amazing idea to sell air domes. I bought air domes for myself, and then I started to help other sports clubs or tennis clubs cover their facility during the winter season with an air dome.
That's fantastic. Okay. So one of the things we wanted to talk about with you was the overall, for one, to take an idea and then now go expand it and scale it and build it, right? What are some of the things that you had to overcome, right, in order to get yourself to that? So a group of entrepreneurs that are watching, sitting here today going, Dan, give me some cheat sheets. Give me a little couple nuggets of what I can look forward to and what can and can't happen. So
in a way, I think the pandemic is sort of a blessing in disguise, because before the pandemic, people were not as happy as now to do business over Zoom, or were not as, I guess it just helped globalize our world even more. And in a way, I've tried many different things, from attending trade shows to paid ads to cold reach outs. I just looked probably last year, we sent over 15,000 text messages.
Wow.
So you just need to try a lot of things and see what works. and then double down on the directions that seem to be lucrative for you.
So how does someone decide what's the best platform to go build their ads or to go build the stuff? So again, if you're new in business, right, it's scary to go say, I'm going to spend money to go run ads, right? But if you're going to be in business, you need to, right? So where do you see that, what is something you look for to go, oh, I need to go and I need to spend my money here? Because there's so many places to spend money, right? How do I find the right one? What worked for you is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So I think if we're talking about ads specifically, there's many directions through where you can get traffic from. However, I feel like Google ads and specifically search or pay per click is the best way to get started, as I think somebody that is on Facebook and is looking at cute dogs and at some point sees an air domes and clicks on your ad may be interested in your air dome in your product, but is very unlikely that he's a buyer.
Right.
However, somebody that searches on Google on, I don't know, air domes for tennis clubs in Tampa, then that's really somebody that is a lot more qualified or a lot more hot as a prospect. And I think Google search is a good place to start, as it's likely that you'll get a positive return on ad spend.
Fantastic. So I want to shift a little bit of a gear just because this is something I find as a theme, right? So professional tennis player, right? That takes a lot to do, right? So I see that a lot of people in business that came from the sports side of things always tend to edge out or be more successful than the people who didn't. Do you find that to be true? And if you do, what is it that is the difference, right? What is it that makes it so that you could excel in business?
Many qualities that you need to develop in sports to succeed, then you can translate them in business. So from resilience to processing failure to being able to pick yourself up to being disciplined, all of these are ingredients that will then help you in business as well. So I feel like I have a lot of friends that are former sports players, and a lot of them are successful in business, and in a way probably in tennis even more than other sports, as it's in a way it's an individual sport.
Right.
You are alone. In business, even though you play in a team, in reality it's up to you to be disciplined and do your job in order to bring your team up. So I feel like tennis is a great launching pad for doing good in business in the future.
I agree. That makes a lot of sense to me. So can I dig a little deeper into your psyche and how you're thinking, right? So one of the things I find a lot of people have an issue with, especially on the entrepreneurial side, is what you said, which was processing failure, right? How do you get through the failure part? So my question would be, Dan Lazar, how do you get yourself through something that isn't really working? Or have something, do you have a failure you had that you were like, man, this was not the easiest thing to get through?
Many, and I guess in time I started to see failures or challenges as opportunities. I think you either get a positive feedback through success, or you did well, or you get negative feedback through a failure, and says, look, if you reflect on what were the ingredients that led to this failure, then you can become a better version of yourself. So I think it's, in a way, I think if you have success or if you have failure, it's still a blessing to be able to run a business and to continuously become a better version of yourself.
So I'm going to throw out there that, like, for me, it took a lot to get to the point of understanding what you said. When I say, I mean this, that failure is an opportunity, because we're not trained. We're not brought up to believe that failure is an opportunity. We're brought up to say failure is like the end. it's like, oh my goodness, this is something, right? So the analogy most people give is that you didn't give up trying to learn to walk when you were a kid, right? So you kept failing but kept getting up. But after that, we tend to lose it, and we look at failure as that destination. So how did you get that shift in your brain to say it's an opportunity? It's, again, it's feedback. I hear that a lot too. It's feedback, either positive or negative.
Yeah, I feel like in the heat of the moment, probably all of us can really see the opportunity in the failures that we go through. But as you get a bit of time and reflect on that, I guess failure plus reflection equals progress. So you can basically turn a failure into a positive experience if you reflect on it, understand what were the lessons that failure was meant to teach you, and then apply them in I guess in some principles that you're going to continue to apply in your work to not repeat the same mistakes. This is actually something that I do every year or after multiple years when I have something that didn't work or didn't work to the level that I wanted. I reflect on it and I realize, okay, what were the ingredients that where I messed things up, and how I could have arrived at a different outcome by applying a different formula, perhaps. And then I basically write them down and I have them like next to my desk. Like I regularly go through the principles that past failures have taught me every week, just so I make sure that I don't forget them for whatever reason. Can you still hear me?
Joe, turn your mic on, buddy.
Joe should probably turn his mic on. Yes, that was good because I rambled for a second there. But
it was good
what I was going to say,
I read lips.
Yes, I loved the fact that it was the failure plus reflection, because without that step, right, we're just stuck in the failure part of it. So I appreciate you for doing that. Now, I dominated this so far just by asking you questions because I'm intrigued by what you do and how you've done it. But typically, format is I give you the stage, and I say, here, talk to a bunch of entrepreneurs and give them some advice that would help them to grow, brand better, or to sell something more. So I want to step back for a second and say, the floor is yours, Dan.
Yeah, so I feel like first and foremost, I try to look at why am I doing something? Why am I doing a business? I try to unpack, okay, I'm doing this for these reasons, and this is, I guess, the financial reasoning, and this is my mission, and how I try to create a better place. And after you understand, I guess, your why, then it's all about formulas in my mind. Everything is a formula. I think even the spammy emails that we used to get 10 years ago with the prince from Nigeria trying to give you his fortunes, even that works if you apply enough of a volume. So I think in entrepreneurship, we probably undervalue what is the level of volume that is required to make something successful. I see that many times. Even last year I was looking at different channels that we try to promote ourselves, and I was sort of concluding that, oh, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. When I actually reflected and went a bit deeper, I realized, yes, but my customer acquisition cost, let's say, is $10,000. If I haven't invested $10,000 in email marketing or in cold text messaging, then I can't conclude that doesn't work. If I know that typically that's what I pay to acquire a customer. So I think it's all about formulas. It's all about, if you aim to get $10 million in sales, how many products do you need to sell? Then how many leads do you need to generate? How much traffic you need to get? How can you improve your website to have a higher conversion rate? And just tweak your formula every week or every month to just improve the speed with which you grow towards your goals.
I'd like to make a quick comment. Alex Hermosi, one of my heroes, said, volume negates success. Or, excuse me, volume negates luck. Sorry. Volume
I was
negates
like,
luck.
volume doesn't. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yes. Oh, here we go.
This Alex was Ozzy.
Let me get my hat.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
but failure is, according to another guy we know, the Hal Wing. Do you have Hal Wings? Do you have Doug Wings book there? We'll send him a copy.
Double wings.
He's got both of those. Yeah.
This is actually open on my table, so I was going through certain chapters.
Failure is just stopping learning and just saying that's failure, stopping attempting. Otherwise, you don't know what you don't know, and you're doing the Edison with one less you don't know out of the way.
Yeah, I think to a certain degree, sometimes failures are even required. I feel like probably one of the things that I see most with kids that are entitled is that they didn't have enough adversity, they didn't have enough failure in their life, and because they had an easy life, they tend to think that everything is easy in life, and they didn't get a chance to actually go through enough failure. In a way, a few years ago, maybe 5 or 7 years ago, I was teaching my wife how to ski. So I'm skiing every winter, and the first thing that I taught her is how to fall. I think if you fall and then you see that that's not the end of the journey, I guess.
Right.
Then it's a lot easier to you're not as scared as you would have been if you didn't know how failure is. So in a way, I think
was that just your excuse to push her over? Is that what you were doing? You were just like, yeah, babe, look. Yeah.
From a different angle, you could argue that. However, it actually helped her because she was very scared of falling. And after she fell, and she has seen that that's not the
end of the world.
Died, and she was a lot more comfortable to follow my guidance.
Dan, Joe's in Southern California, and snow plow is not like a snow blower. It's two different things.
Yes.
You wanted to do a snow plow, but
about.
It would be a little messy with a snow blower.
Right.
It would stop them, but just once, I guess.
It would work. It would work. Okay, so sorry, we interrupted for our humor. But no, I wrote down I started building my formula while you were talking. And I was like, okay, so ads to contacts, contacts to meetings, meetings to sold services equals $10 million in sales. And then working your way back to get to that point. And so I'm going to put it on the ads too as well, social, like how to use social media, how to get yourself out there, brand recognition kind of deal. So how does Dan intrigue people? How do you find it? Like, again, you're going to go in and you're going to talk to, if somebody's clicking on anything for you and saying, I'm looking for an air dome, right? That's a pretty specific customer that you have, right? What's success rate on, I got a contact, I got a meeting, I got a sold in your formula?
Short term, around 1%.
Okay.
So a lot of people are kind of thinking about it, but it's a process. You need to get approvals, a permit, professional services. You may need to get funding if you don't have it or get approved. So even though a lot of people request a code, and we probably close 1 in 30 face-to-face meetings. So we need to, as we know that number, it's all about getting as many meetings attended via different ways. Something that we do now, we even call people like 5 times. So after somebody becomes a lead, if they don't respond once, we call them a second time, a third time, a fourth time, until we book them into a call. Obviously, unless they respond the second time and they say, oh, sorry, this is not for me, it's totally outside of my budget.
So do you find it's more, and again, it's just my curiosity because I'm trying to attach what you do with what I do and things. So, and I believe everybody else who's watching is doing the same thing. But do you think it's more of an educational thing that you get stuck doing? right? So somebody says, "Hey, I'm interested in an air dome," and then you get them on the first call, and then you have to educate them on everything that they're going to need to get it done, as opposed to if you were selling something for $50, it's just a matter of them seeing more than $50 value.
That is one side of it. Another side is understanding their business and maybe even their formula, and showing them how they can get ideally a 50% return by getting an air dome. So typically, a tennis club in a place like I don't know, Chicago, unless they have some sort of a covering structure, then they don't have any business 6 months per year. So an air dome basically doubles their revenue, and then obviously on that revenue they have a profit margin and so on. But typically, an air dome should get you 50% return on investment, and sometimes we even sort of advise against it if somebody the formula doesn't make sense. Says, look, we were happy to sell one for you, but if I were you, I wouldn't buy it. It just doesn't make sense. You need to get a above average return on investment for this to be an investment that you're going to be happy with.
So I love the integrity at that point. That's what I look at and say that's the challenger sale, right? From the book, The Challenger Sale, where your answer is it may not be right for you, and I may advise you not to. So, and again, the confidence and the integrity in which you stand, right, almost makes it more appealing to the customer to do it. And you're like, no, I said don't. And they're like, wait, but I like you. You're giving me this, right? And so,
in a way, I think that's our role as a company. We are here to help sports clubs, particularly other channels as well, get as high of a return on investment as possible, because then they will be happy with us. They're going to bring other customers to us, and if somebody buys an air dome and then they lose money with it, then obviously that won't be a happy customer.
Right. So are you specific? Is HeroX only air domes? Is that what you're focusing on, or you have multiple channels?
That's so HeroX in the US only does air domes. Under the HeroX brand, I also do property development in Australia. You can see here that this is my first development. This is my second development. This is, I guess, another line of business that we do under HeroX. It's, I guess, part of the profits that I make selling air domes. I put into developing properties. I'm very passionate about creating things that will outlast me. So I think property development and kids, and potentially at some point writing books are things that get me excited.
I love that. So we're creeping up on a half hour. So I'll just go throw it out at you and just say, Dan, you got a group of people that are sitting there hungry, looking for knowledge. What are the one or two things you want to say to them to help get them to move forward?
So I think it's after they uncover what their why is and what their formula is, it's all about putting in place certain habits that will make their outcome more likely. So somebody had a quote, I don't remember whose name was, that you need to be working more on you than on the business. So when I say working on you, working on your habits or doing things regularly to achieve that outcome. It may be doing the 50 phone calls daily, or doing 1,000 text messages weekly, or understand what are the habits that you need to have as a business owner or salesperson to be able to create that dream of yours a reality faster rather than sooner rather than later. So that in a way that's actually a sort of a habit tracker that I have for myself, where I try to give myself daily a score on it. Sort of that adds up the sales that I click, and it gives me every day a score. How did I do business wise? How did I do spiritually wise with my spiritual habits? And then how did I do I guess health wise? Did I do did I go to the gym? Did I eat properly that day? And I think in a way, to me, success is not really one dimension, not really that just money. There is a lot of people with money that are, perhaps a little bit overweight, or their family is not in a good place. I feel like, to me, success is sort of a triangle between health, spiritual, and financial.
Fantastic. I love that. So I got a text message that says, "What app is he using?
It's
Is
not,
it something you created or?"
yeah,
No.
it's Google. I'm happy to share this with you. So if you have a way of sharing it with the audience, you just Google spreadsheet that I created. That just I think after 3 or 4 years of improving my way of tracking my habits, I think I'm very, very happy with the current formula. So if anybody
Oh,
needs it, I'm happy
fantastic.
to share it with you guys.
Great. So then I'll reach out to you. You can share it to me on Google, and then I'll put it in the Facebook group so that they have access to it. That comes up, or a copy of it. Otherwise, they'll be updating yours. And it'd be like, "Wow, I'm really doing bad today." Yeah. So,
Here's a
JR.
thought, and it's exactly what Dan was saying. Successful people do by habit what unsuccessful people shun by nature. The reason why you're a tennis star, the reason why Joe is what he does, whatever it is, and
We
me
don't know.
too, is we work on it daily. You were a tennis star because you were there whacking balls against the side of a building, driving everybody crazy when you were a kid because no one would play. And you did it every day. How close am I to the guess on that, Dan?
Quite close, quite close.
And that's it. You just do the thing every day and you do it. And pretty soon it's like, okay, I got to do my 50 or whatever. And you just do it. It's okay. And then I'll clean it up a little, Joe. You do it till your rear falls off and you keep on doing it, according to one of our favorites, Jeffrey Gitomer.
Yes, exactly. No, I agree with you 100%. It was a great recap because, again, it's one of those things that goes back to the old saying, which it might have been JR that said it because he's really old. But when you look at it, the amateurs do it till they get it right, where a professional does it till they can't do it wrong. And so it takes that habit, right? So I wrote down, you got to have your why, you got to have the formula, right? That works. And then you got to have the habits to back up the formula, right? If you don't have the habits to support the formula, then you'll never get the why. So
yeah, because I see business in general more of a business, or the process of becoming a better version of yourself, actually more of a marathon than a sprint. So I think tracking how you are disciplined with your habits is definitely a great method of reinforcing the good behavior and making sure that you constantly are disciplined.
fantastic. So
Day by day and
I was a bad
incremental, right?
host. Yes,
Sorry.
I was a bad host and didn't turn the thing at the bottom. But Dan, is the website that's down here at the bottom? It's in the show notes. We're good. Is the website down here the best place to reach out to you? Is LinkedIn better to reach out to you? What is it? Both are in the show notes. But
Yeah, so LinkedIn is best to reach me personally. If anybody needs an air dome, this website is the best place to go.
right. The more I listen to, the more I'm like, I want an air dome, but just for my car out in the driveway. You know what I mean? How cool would that be? Just yeah. What's that? It's an air dome. Leave it alone. Yeah. That's Joe's car that's in there. Yeah. Is it an exotic? No, but he's got an air dome because he likes it. Yeah. But no, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Dan. You've shared your time with us. You got up in the middle of the night. I appreciate you completely. When you do get the book written, I would say please reach out. Let's bring you back on, talk about the book, and let's push that out to the entire network that we can get out here to support you. So
Much appreciated, Joe. Thank you. Will do.
thank you so much. JR, thank you for spending your time with us. Dan, thank you so much. Dan said, how do the undisciplined become disciplined? So that's a question for you, Dan, because
By tracking your habits, I guess I've gamified my habits. So I think whenever I do something like saying a prayer in the morning, I click a checkbox, it adds it to my spiritual score, and then my daily score is a combination between my spiritual score, my health score, and my financial score. So in a way, I now I'm no longer having to be disciplined. I sort of play a game.
right, you're tracking points. You're trying to get as many points as you can during the day. I'm telling you, Dan, we need to make an app. We need to make an app. Somebody wakes up in the morning, bing, bing, do that. Yes. So Dan Gordon says he loves the gamification. So Bob Donnell said, thank you for sharing. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you, Dan. You can go to sleep because you're going to lose points if you don't get up early, right? For tomorrow's. So I thank you so much. Everybody, please go out and sell something.